Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today we are going to be going over a couple of quick teams with the new mythic of Skadi. She is currently in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest for this week until the next Friday reset, and then she will be in the drop pool with everything else. So if you do want to get her, now is the time to do so. Do keep in mind though, with the new kingdom coming around about mid next month and around January or so, you do want to make sure you save a few of your resources for later on. But anyways, Skadi, what does she do? She has a freeze mana burn. Freeze, of course, helps prevent extra turns from the enemy team, particularly against skulls as well, since it's going to be hitting the first two, so you're always going to be making sure they can't do it with skulls. She also has a mana burn right there, which does the amount of magic she has, as well as how much mana they currently have. So for example, if they have that Scion has 10 out of 15 mana, it will deal 10 damage based on the mana that it currently has, plus the amount of magic she has, so that would come out to 36 damage onto it. She then pushes the first two to the back. It would put whatever is currently in the first slot to last, and whatever currently is in the second slot to third. Or at least that's appeared to be what it's doing. I don't know if it's been glitching a little bit and doing something slightly different. There's a lot of stuff like moving around whenever she does their ability, so a little bit hard to follow sometimes. But anyways, really viable, really good against skull spam teams, really good actually against Scion teams too, if we can get it up quick enough, mainly because we'll be able to move that Scion to the back and not have to ever deal with it for the rest of the battle, which is kind of nice, and it's really good for just completely disorienting the team. And with a double move like that, really viable. Basically the first late game movement troop that has the capability of being viable, which is really nice. So definitely going to be seeing her quite a bit, particularly in the Guild Wars, most likely. So Skadi, it is a blue, purple, yellow troop. You need a yellow, blue, and purple, blue to be able to trade it. Yellow, blue you can get from Sword's Edge, as well as blue, purple, which you can get from Glacial Peaks, which is actually where she's from. Divinian Fae, nothing too relevant with that. Maybe some Divine teams, possibly, because she has the yellow in there. But I don't really think that's going to come into play much, maybe with like a Mercy or a few other things, but very unconsequential to anything. And other than that, she has Insulated Arcane. These are the exact two traits as Queen Mab, which she does indeed summon, of course. And the main unique thing about her is the Snowstorm. So she can create a perpetual blue storm, which will basically last forever, assuming she's not stunned. This, of course, on any troop that ever gets it is extremely viable, and that is no different for her. So really good on blue Guild War days, also good with things that teams that just happen to need a lot of blue mana for whatever reason. So first off, we're going to be going with an Explosion spam team. Probably not the best idea against a Drain spam team. Luckily, he only has a Scion and not a Scion and a Famine. Otherwise, I would probably reconsider to a different team. But basically, really high priority to be using a Ragnagord with her. A Ragnagord plus a Skadi is basically enough to be able to just keep going between them. Well, not that she has any way to get her mana back, but you know, the Ragnagord doesn't have any blockage, so just throw Rag. You pretty much just got yourself a free Skadi right there to be able to cast. I'm using a, what's her name? A Uriali in this team. The main reason for this is simply for damage output. You do not need to use a Uriali. This is simply here for the damage itself. You can use absolutely anything in the last slot of this particular team that we're using to be able to do damage. I just happen to choose her because out of everything I've tested so far with this particular team, that seems to be what is working out the best. So right here, a pretty unfortunate moment where I don't actually have enough damage to do the kill, so we're just going to go for it. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the Scion ended up moving to the last slot, which it was originally in first, and the Ragnagord ended up moving into the third slot when it was originally in second, completely disorienting the team, which is very nice. Oh, never mind. It doesn't actually get the freeze onto the first, though, technically, because it's not frozen on skulls since it actually moves it all the way to the back. Didn't think about that. So you actually don't get the freeze for skull spam teams, but you do move all of the more relevant troops on skull-related teams to the back, which is still decent. It's just the freeze is slightly weird because it doesn't actually go onto the new front lines. It goes onto the old front lines. Anyways, let's go and, well, if we do it again, there we go. Now the whole entire team is frozen. And it's actually interesting because it's not even in the same orientation as before, too, which is kind of nice. As you can see, the Ragnagord is one slot in front of the Scion, so we no longer get poked. So even if we cast it multiple times, we do not need to worry about accidentally putting the previous frontline troop to the front, because that will no longer happen. So yeah, kind of decent. And we'll just get a Reality 2 that will wipe it out. We're most likely going to lose our first slot, but that is very little concern since we have two things with the capability of summoning here. So even if we were to lose it for whatever reason from just getting damage, it's just going to go right back up with either a Queen Mab or the Bone Naga that the other one will create. And there we go, Queen Mab, boom. And not like we need it, but there is a gigantic Queen Mab, and everyone knows how annoying Queen Mab is. The fact that she just summons that alone is pretty good value right there. Obviously not for 25 mana cost just to summon it, but still, it's pretty nice to be able to get that off. So, of course, here's an annoying, kind of safe team. Gorgotha, Christine, X, Dragon Soul, Famine. Should be able to take that out, though. We're running a pure blue. Of course, I mentioned definitely really good idea to be trying to incorporate a Skadi into a pure blue team. With this, I'm using the Azura again. More often not similar to the Ragnagord, it is a pretty good idea to use Azura with it since she has the capability of exploding all the blues, and since there will be so many blues on the board, you will want to get that. It also has Arcane, so if you're constantly throwing a bunch of abilities down, they're both going to be gaining the benefit from the Arcane instead of just one of them. We also have a Corvash here, just simply for mana draining purposes and for stunning. Simple disables that you would run in any kind of Guild Wars, as well as Silence for the same reason, as well as a last slot Impervious just for anti-Kraken, just in case. And of course we still have the summon. She is a Queen Mab summoner, so she will be able to give us those summons we need to not lose points within Guild Wars, which will also be quite convenient. And if we are falling behind, a Queen Mab, assuming they don't have immune to mana burn, will be able to likely pick off whatever last kills you still need to be able to win out the Guild War battle. So right off the bat, of course, we're just going to want to go all in on our Exploder, get our mana up on it as quickly as possible, then just keep spamming it. Luckily, it does not have a Scion, so we don't need to worry about that as a threat. Now we have all of our utilities up. We could just go Silence, we can go Corvash, we can just throw whatever we want when we need it, depending on what the situation calls for at the given moment in time. One thing to note is, given that we're running with both the Skadi and the Corvash, they synergize in that they both hit the first true troops, but you do want to keep in mind that you do not want to accidentally Corvash and then get rid of the order of the team. You want to make sure you basically use this so that you Corvash away their mana. So like right here, I'm going to hope for whatever reason he takes that skull, and we're basically going to move that so we can now Corvash his Corvash away the mana of his Dragon Soul that's just sitting right there. So since he didn't go for his ability, we can just go simply right into the Corvash, and now that we have moved his team and everything, we were able to get that Corvash in, because of course prior with it in third slot, it would not have been possible to have gotten that Corvash. So right here, going to go for the blue. It did not surge, unfortunately, which would have been enough mana. So we're just going to have to keep poking a little bit of mana. I guess it's a purple here to go and top it out. As you can see, our stats are actually doing quite decent right now, surprisingly. We have not taken too much damage, and even if we do... never mind. Scratch everything I just said in the last 1 second. Well then, good job, Famine. Also, someone made a random poll in the forum the other day. I wasn't paying too much attention to it, but it had like a gigantic list of things that frustrate you the most in Gems of War. And I think at the time, 50% out of like the 10 options or whatever it was on the list, getting famines like that was the #1 thing, with like 50% out of all 8 of the options or however many it was. Yeah, that is really annoying, to say the least. Also, it hit our summoner. If this was Guild Wars, that would be really depressing, because we... Oh, come on, not again. Not again. That is basically Famine in a nutshell right there. Anyways, but yeah, if this was Guild Wars right now, that would be very, very unfortunate, and we better not lose this to that Famine. That is extremely unfortunate. Well then, that turned quickly. Well, you can see that it works. I'm pretty sure that's just excessively bad luck there. But we might as well just retreat at this point. It's not winnable. Well, round 2. Let's try this again. Well then, that is probably an outlier. I can almost guarantee. So let's not have that happen again. We'll go move that. He'll just do a mercy. It's not going to hit on anything though. We'll take the yellow, take the blue. We have two different options to move it. I guess we take it to the left in case we get some kind of yellow here. Nope, we did not get an additional yellow to fall, so we cannot take that for an extra turn. I don't think I need to go all in on the mana yet. I might just take a Merlion poke at this point. Not too many colors we need that are really on the board, so we'll just move that. A nice little poke out of nowhere. Wasn't even really expecting that, but I'll take it. We could try a purple surge here. I don't know if I can outrace his ability at this point though, so I think I'm just going to go and try getting... Oh, never mind, we did. I was going to try getting the Merlion there, but we got our explosion. Go get that down. Go get our stat reductions. I think we hit a magic reduction too on the... to get him on his magic, or to get rid of his ability on the Infernus, so he does a little bit less damage. He's down to 12 magic now. Not to mention we also have a Corvash, so we go throw that, get a nice Corvash down. He's stunned, so we don't need to worry about the mana drain there. And yeah, this is going much better. No famine for you to instantly almost win the game, or actually did win the game. Let's see. Oops, I might need to go get a silence on that. That, or we could go try for a full mana. We'll try for that. And just go Corvash him. Looks like we randomly hit a magic there. And we did indeed get the Corvash. And we can just throw that down. Keep getting that down. But yeah, this team is normally really, really good. Pay no attention to the previous battle that just occurred. But yeah, it happens sometimes. We'll go, and none of them are silenced right now, so we don't really need to throw another Merlion. None of them have full mana, none of them are already silenced. The reason we'd want one to already be silenced, of course, is so we do the 2 times damage that it has, which can be viable sometimes. But gonna throw the Corvash first, just in case this feels like getting his ability up. Go kill him out with that, and then a Merlion will do the final little 1 poke, apparently, because it doesn't want to go down. And there we go. And that's generally how the team would go. And if you do happen to lose your first slot, which is probably common, to lose the first slot you have in this team due to it being pretty weak, which is an Azura there, you can simply replace that with a Queen Mab, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, that's pretty much how the team would normally go. Just get Azura up quickly. If it dies, you'll easily get a Queen Mab, and just keep disabling with Corvash and Merlion to make sure a famine does not randomly destroy your entire team. Next up, we have a Justice team variant. Given that she can summon a Queen Mab, this does indeed work, and even if you are losing, if you happen to not die at all and get the really decent lead, you'll still be able to get her freezes off, because of course she does a double freeze when she does her ability. That's not as good, of course, as being able to freeze the entire enemy team, but still, for Justice purposes, having 2 freezes is still pretty decent, given how ridiculously good his boost ratio is. He's currently the only Guardian that has a double boost ratio, because he not only gains attack, but he also gains life, and the boost ratio goes to the full 100% effect on both, essentially being twice as much effective as any of the other Guardians in regard to their boost ratio. So right here, we would normally want to throw this at a mana. Not quite sure if there's really anything to go on. I guess a blue-green would be okay. Not to mention, one other thing that synergizes with her, which is something I'm not showing in this video, mainly because I couldn't really find anything that was working. But things like Vinoxia and Lady Ornarial that create blue-green are actually pretty decent with the Skadi. I just haven't been able to find any combination that works out really, really well. They do tend to be a little bit lower tier of troops, particularly the Vinoxia, due to the fact that it doesn't really serve too much of a purpose. It gains a really high attack, but that doesn't really do much else other than that. There's a small amount of true damage, but it's normally pretty trivial in most battles. But anyways, let's go get ourselves a Kraken here. It looks like it will miss. I could always do a board clear, which at this point I think I'm just going to do, just to get this stuff out the way. Hopefully get our Devour there. We get a little bit of a poke, and yeah, enough blues that we should be able to get that now. Of course, we have the Perpetual Blue Storm, so that should almost always be the case. He now has a, what's it called? The Submerge there. So he does get to counter out the Kraken now. He just gets to keep dodging it. Though, he should not dodge this and die to it. Even though that technically hit all the enemies, it's not full AoE. It's just a double poke. So even when they only have 2 left, it still does hit through the Submerge. And look at that, we get an Arcane Trait Stone for the final battle there. But anyways, that is the new Skadi. Definitely a really nice choice to consider. I would advise at least attempting to get this new Mythic. While it's definitely by no means the best Mythic in the game, really anything that ever gets that Perpetual Storm to a specific color, always really nice to try seeking out every single one of those. And the fact she summons a Queen Mab and has so much utility on her does make her a really nice option. Blue does have a lot of utility in general, but since she does cover 3 colors, that also brings the utility over to yellow and purple days if you so chose to use it. For the most part, her main purpose I feel like will be for blue Guild Wars. We did lose that one battle, but I'm pretty sure that's a little bit more of an outlier just to an annoying famine. Pretty sure in most instances she will be a really viable blue day team. You can use her as simply as just having her with an Azura and then just put 2 other things in between. Almost doesn't even matter what it is. We went with Corvash Merline this time simply because they're just really good disables that help to make sure the enemy does not keep casting against you, but you can use almost essentially anything to try to assisting that double combo. And similarly, of course, you can use a Ragnagord with her, and you will be able to get a lot of mana for your Skadi as well as everything for the team, given that there is no mana conflict between the 2 of them. But anyways, guys, that is the new Mythic of Skadi. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. We will be doing a stream today and tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, approximately, to mess around with her and see what other kind of various teams we can be. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Best of luck trying to get the troop, and happy holidays, everyone. And also, I should probably mention real quick, don't forget that right now in the Soulforge, there is another mythic approaching, and that is, of course, Ferishra. So don't forget to craft yourself one if you haven't already. They're doing that for the holiday, the ability to craft yourself a Ferishra. So yeah, don't forget to do that if you have the resources to do so. Definitely make sure to get yourself one. Best soul former in the game, best thing you can ever use diamonds on. Anyways, guys, I'll see y'all later. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.